The remains of 41 people killed in the Washington, D.C. plane crash have been recovered. In a press briefing Friday, we learned first responders are still working to recover more remains. 67 people were killed when a passenger plane and a military helicopter collided in mid-air. Emergency leaders believe they will recover the remaining 26 victims when the plane wreckage is retrieved from the river.
Going forward with our recovery operations, search teams will continue to work the site. We'll do side sonar scanning, searching the shoreline, and aerial operations.
It's not clear what caused the crash. Crews have been able to recover the plane's 2 black boxes.
On a somber Wednesday evening, the skies near Reagan National Airport bore witness to a catastrophe. An American Airlines passenger jet, operating as Flight 5342, collided with a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. The impact sent shockwaves through the nation, leaving behind a trail of devastation and unanswered questions. The incident, which unfolded in the blink of an eye, claimed the lives of all 67 souls aboard both aircraft, marking a dark day in aviation history. As the news of the collision spread, a sense of disbelief and grief gripped the nation. Families and loved ones of those on board were left grappling with the sudden and profound loss. The crash site, a stretch of the Potomac River, became the epicenter of a frantic search and rescue operation. Amidst the wreckage, the hope of finding survivors dwindled with each passing hour. The collision has raised serious concerns about aviation safety protocols, particularly in congested airspace near major airports. The incident has also cast a spotlight on the crucial role of air traffic control in preventing such disasters. As investigators begin the arduous task of piecing together the events leading up to the collision, the nation mourns the loss of those who perished in this tragic accident. The investigation, a complex and multifaceted endeavor, is expected to be lengthy and thorough. It will delve into various aspects, including the actions of the pilots, the role of air traffic control, weather conditions, and any potential mechanical failures. The National Transportation Safety Board, the agency responsible for investigating aviation accidents, has dispatched a team of experts to the crash site to gather evidence and analyze the wreckage. In the immediate aftermath of the collision, a massive recovery operation swung into action. First responders, braving the chilling waters of the Potomac River, worked tirelessly to locate survivors and recover the remains of those lost. The operation, a race against time, faced numerous challenges, including the fast-moving current, poor visibility, and the sheer magnitude of the debris field. Despite the daunting conditions, rescue workers remained steadfast in their mission, driven by a profound sense of duty and compassion for the victims and their families. As days turned into nights, the recovery effort continued unabated, with teams working around the clock to search for those still unaccounted for. The grim task of recovering the remains of the victims was made even more challenging by the fact that some of the wreckage had sunk to the bottom of the river. Divers, using specialized equipment, meticulously combed the riverbed, carefully retrieving any human remains or personal belongings they could find. The recovery of the aircraft's black boxes, crucial pieces of evidence that record flight data and cockpit audio, was a top priority for investigators. These devices, often referred to as flight recorders, could provide vital clues about the moments leading up to the collision. The recovery effort, a testament to the resilience and dedication of those involved, continued for several weeks. The painstaking process of identifying the victims, a somber and emotionally charged task, relied on DNA analysis and other forensic techniques. As the recovery operation drew to a close, the focus shifted to the investigation, with the NTSB working tirelessly to determine the cause of the collision and prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. At the heart of the investigation into the mid-air collision lies the critical role of air traffic control. As the eyes and ears of the skies, air traffic controllers bear the immense responsibility of guiding aircraft safely through the airspace, preventing collisions and ensuring the smooth flow of air traffic. In the wake of the tragedy, investigators are meticulously scrutinizing the actions of the air traffic controllers on duty at the time of the accident, examining radar data, communication logs, and other relevant information. One particular area of focus is the fact that a single air traffic controller was responsible for managing both airplanes and helicopters in the vicinity of Reagan National Airport at the time of the collision. This practice, while not uncommon, has raised concerns about potential overwork and the ability of a single controller to effectively manage a high volume of air traffic, especially in a complex airspace like that surrounding a major airport. Adding to the complexity of the situation, reports have emerged suggesting that the air traffic control tower at Reagan National Airport was understaffed on the evening of the accident. The facility, which typically operates with a full complement of controllers, was reportedly short-staffed due to a combination of factors, including sick leave, training, and scheduling issues. The issue of air traffic controller staffing has been a long-standing concern within the aviation industry, with critics arguing that chronic understaffing can lead to controller fatigue, increased workload, and an elevated risk of errors. The investigation is also examining whether there were any deviations from established air traffic control procedures that may have contributed to the collision. Specifically, investigators are looking into reports that the Black Hawk helicopter involved in the accident was flying at an altitude higher than its approved flight path. The helicopter, which was on a training mission, was supposed to be flying at a lower altitude, which would have kept it clear of the airspace used by commercial airliners like the American Airlines jet. As the investigation into the tragic collision progresses, the NTSB is meticulously piecing together the events that led to the disaster. The agency, known for its thoroughness and expertise in aviation accident investigations, is pursuing multiple lines of inquiry, examining factors such as pilot actions, air traffic control procedures, weather conditions, mechanical issues, and human factors. The goal is not only to determine the cause of the accident, but also to identify any systemic safety deficiencies that may have contributed to the tragedy. One of the key pieces of evidence in the investigation is the data retrieved from the flight data recorders and cockpit voice recorders of both aircraft. These devices, commonly referred to as black boxes, provide a wealth of information about the performance of the aircraft, the actions of the pilots, and the communications between the aircraft and air traffic control. Analysts are carefully scrutinizing the data from the black boxes, looking for any anomalies or inconsistencies that could shed light on the cause of the collision. In addition to analyzing the black boxes, investigators are also conducting interviews with witnesses, including air traffic controllers, ground crew members, and any individuals who may have observed the accident. These interviews are crucial for gathering first-hand accounts of the events leading up to the collision and for gaining a better understanding of the circumstances surrounding the tragedy. The NTSB is also working closely with the Federal Aviation Administration, the agency responsible for regulating civil aviation, to review air traffic control procedures and identify any potential areas for improvement. The investigation, a complex and time-consuming process, is expected to take several months, if not longer, to complete. The NTSB, committed to transparency and accountability, will release a preliminary report within a few weeks outlining the factual findings of the investigation thus far. However, the final report, which will include the agency's conclusions and safety recommendations, is not expected for at least a year.